Well, it just came out of Mike Johnson's mouth, so I guess you can say it's kind of official. So Mike Johnson said that if Iran strikes Israel in any way, which Iran has been telling its neighbors to prepare, they're about to strike Israel, that America is going to war with Israel. We are sending over 16 to 24 F-22s this afternoon. We've already sent over two destroyers yesterday. Well, two destroyers were on their way yesterday to the Red Sea. And then we already sent like 3 fleets over there. And so I guess next now is just waiting to see if Iran follows through with the threat. Again, Iran has been warning its people to get out of certain places. They have warned their neighbors they're going to do this. So, yeah. And it appears that Saudi Arabia told Iran that they weren't going to let any of their missiles and stuff fly through their airspace, but Jordan and Egypt said they are not going to block anything that is heading to Israel. So, yeah, there's that.
Shalom, shalom. Before I get started, as always, I want to give all praise to our power, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Racha HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and salutation and blessings to the hopeful elect that is scattered throughout the 4 winds of the earth, that believe wholeheartedly in the true doctrine, that is being pushed throughout the 4 winds of the earth, who are in hope of mercy and salvation during the time of Jacob's trouble, as well as when Yahweh Shai returns to the planet Earth. All right. And what you just saw was 2 clips that I got from TikTok. One was this guy by the channel of Harley Jackson. He that was uploaded a day ago. And then this one was from, I believe this is a Iranian soldier, which this was uploaded back in May. So this isn't a recent video. But as we remember, back in April, they did the retaliation bombarding of the missiles on Israel. And this was, them showing their show of force back then. So now here we are in the month of August, all right, which is May, June, July, August, 3 months later, all right. And the tensions haven't gone anywhere, all right. They've actually been heightened. And Iran has vowed for a retaliation for the death of their Hamas and Hezbollah leaders, okay? As you can see here in the picture, all right? Which this is all provocation on part of Israel and America, all right? They want this war with Iran. And Lord will, by the end of this video, you will see that. And ultimately what you'll see is that this is what the scriptures, the Holy Bible, calls for. All right. This is what Bible prophecy calls for. This is why this thing is getting hot. It's heating up the way it is. All right. And it's going to continue to get worse and worse. We're still waiting for Iran's response. And their response, more than likely, will be greater than what it was back in April. All right. So as we read here, U.S. and Israel preparing for imminent Iranian attack. All right. It says the United States and Israel are preparing themselves for a major attack by Iran in retaliation for the assassination of Hamas and Hezbollah leaders. As Israel is bracing for an imminent attack, the U.S. has sought to revive the multinational coalition against Iran in the Middle East, all right, which this was formed back in April. All right, here's the receipts on it. All right, April 14, 2024, Israel proposes international coalition against Iran. All right, and here's the details. Okay, and like I said, this has been in the works for decades. This ain't something that just sprung up. All right, this has been in the works. They've been wanting this war with Iran. All right, and I believe this is the time where they're gonna get it. All right, but it's not gonna end the way they want it to. All right, because this is biblical prophecy. All right, let's go down. Let's read a little bit. It says the assault is anticipated to begin on Monday, Axios has reported. All right. Which Monday has passed and nothing has happened. But there's still, the gathering of the troops, as the scriptures call the Armageddon or Armageddon. All right. The mountain of the troops. The troops are being mounted up and headed over to this region. Okay. It says, according to two unnamed U.S. officials, General Michael Kurilla, the head of U.S. Central Command, has arrived in the region for a pre-planned visit that will likely focus on efforts to mobilize the same broad international and regional coalition that defended Israel from a previous Iranian attack in April. All right, and that's what I just said. Reports tensions in the Middle East have reached the boiling point in recent days after Iran accused Israel of killing Hamas political leader Ismail Haniyeh in a bombing in Tehran, while Israel has neither confirmed nor denied orchestrating the hit. It did admit to eliminating Hezbollah leader Fouad Shakur in Beirut, who is said was responsible for an attack on a soccer field in the Golan Heights that killed 12 miners. All right. It says with the Iran promising to retaliate, the Israeli military has been put on high alert, and the U.S. its main ally, has increased its presence in the region. All right, biblical prophecy, and we're gonna read it. All right. It says Axios sources suggested that Iran's attack will follow the same playbook as in April, when Tehran launched a retaliatory strike on Israel in response to what claimed was West Jerusalem's bombing of its consulate in Syria. That assault involved hundreds of drones and missiles, but Israeli officials insisted the damage was minimal. At the same time, officials told the outlet that the upcoming strike could be more massive and involve Hezbollah forces in Lebanon, adding that they do not know whether Iran and Hezbollah will conduct coordinated or separated strikes. They also said they believe Tehran and Hezbollah are now finalizing their plans, which must be approved to the highest political level. Meanwhile, U.S. President Joe Biden administration is reportedly concerned that Washington and West Jerusalem will find it much more difficult than in April to rally a coalition to repel an Iranian attack, as the tensions caused by the Haniyeh's assassination are directly linked to the Hamas-Israel war. As fighting rages in Gaza, Israel has come under heavy flack for its operation in Palestinian enclave, which has resulted in unprecedented destruction and the deaths of thousands. All right. So that region is hot over there. All right. That region is hot, and that's where the Lord is gathering these troops. All right. And I got a couple more things I want to show you, and then we're going to pull up the scriptures. Now, this was on Redacted yesterday. All right. Now, this is a portion of the show yesterday that Clayton, clipped out of the live stream that he did. And this is an ex-CIA agent explaining what really took place, or what is taking place. All right. So let's listen.
Israel serves not
Let me back it up. Salakia.
Well, thousands of sailors and soldiers, American sailors and soldiers, are being sent towards Israel in preparation for World War III, which could happen at any moment. A coming war with Iran that, of course, Israel desperately wants. Benjamin Netanyahu has told us many times in front of Congress.
And what you're going to find out is not just Israel desperately wants, but the U.S. definitely wants, which ultimately the elite bankers desperately want. All right. You got to understand that the America is the tip of their spear, all right? Their military might, all right? This is why you have over 800 American bases spread throughout the entire planet, all right? They're the tip of the spear of this elite banking military, which is the beast in the form of NATO, okay?
He desperately wants the United States to take out Iran, as we've done in Libya and Iraq. Iran was the third one on his list that he wants us to do that. So should Americans die for Israel's war against Iran? Are we about to see a massive false flag operation that would harm American soldiers? Former CIA agent Larry Johnson joins us now. He has been outspoken on this from the very beginning, that Americans should not be involved in this and we should not be there. And he joins us now. Larry, great to see you. It seems like we're on the precipice.
Yeah, we're staring World War III in the face. This is alarming. The movement of U.S. forces that's underway tells you that the movement of these forces is not a reaction to what happened. It was pre-planned. In other words, because
it was pre-planned. He knows this. Now, we're going to come back to this. We're going to go to this video, all right, which this is a 16-year-old video, all right? And this is another, I believe he's a 4-star general of the Army, retired, Wesley Clark. And this was a conference he was at, the Commonwealth Club of California. All right, this aired going back to October of 2007. All right. Now, according to what he's getting ready to say, they've been behind on their plans. All right. And I'm sure brothers, may remember what he's getting ready to say. All right. But they've been planning on taking down Iran for a long time. All right. And now we're here at the cup of it. All right. We're at the cup of it to where this thing is getting ready to blow over, because we are in that time. The Lord has brought these things to fruition. All right. Where everything is on the place. See, going back to 07, we didn't have the talks of the MOTB the way they are. We didn't have COVID. All right. They didn't shut down the world. They didn't have other plans that they needed in place for this to happen. But now they have everything in place for it to happen. All right. They have everything in place for it to happen. They before it does happen, though, we will have a mandate of the MOTB, which is going to come in the form of the RFID microchip, which is the MOTB. All right. And we're going to have this another lockdown that's going to make 2020 look like a walk in the park. All right. And, you know, I ain't going to get into that portion of it. I just want to focus on this war portion. Lord will, I'll get into that in another video. All right. But everything is all lined up, okay, on all levels to where they can actually go now. All right. So let's listen to this real quick.
At 9/11 is we didn't have a strategy, we didn't have bipartisan agreement, we didn't have American understanding of it, and we had instead a policy coup in this country. A coup. A policy coup. Some hard-nosed people took over the direction of American policy, and they never bothered to inform the rest of us. I went through the Pentagon 10 days after 9/11. I couldn't stay away from Mother Army. I went back there to see Don Rumsfeld. I'd worked for him as a White House fellow in the 1970s. All this is in the book. And I said, am I doing okay on CNN? He said, yeah, fine. He said, I'm thinking about it. He says, I read your book. And he said, this is a book that talks about the Kosovo campaign. And he said, I just want to tell you, he said, nobody's going to tell us where or when we can bomb. Nobody. He said, I'm thinking of calling this a floating coalition. What do you think about that? I said, well, sir, thanks for reading my book. And, he said, thanks, that's all the time I've got. Really? And I went downstairs, I was leaving the Pentagon, and an officer from the Joint Staff called me into his office and said, I want you to know, he said, sir, we're going to attack Iraq. And I said, why? He said, we don't know. He said, I said, well, did they tie Saddam to 9/11? He said, no. He said, but I guess they don't know what to do about terrorism, and so they think, but they can attack states, and they want to look strong, and so I guess they think if they take down a state, it will intimidate the terrorists. And you know, it's like that old saying. He said, if the only tool you have is a hammer, then every problem has to be a nail. Well,
and this is why the scriptures call Babylon the hammer of the earth. All right. And that's recorded in Jeremiah, the 51st chapter, and the 23rd verse. All right. Matter of fact, we'll read that real quick. Bring in the scripture. Okay. But the hammer isn't broken down yet, but it's about to be. All right. Jeremiah 51 and 23. I'm sorry, not 51, 50. Let's go back. Jeremiah 50, and 23, all right? It says, how is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? How has Babylon become a desolation among the nations? And this is what's going to happen to Babylon, a.k.a. America, all right? Babylon the Great, all right? This is the hammer of the whole earth, all right? This is why they're sending military vessels and troops over to that region now, all right? Because this has been a part of their plan, which ultimately is the Heavenly Father's plan on the left-hand side, to gather these nations so he can sit and judge them, okay? But as you heard him just say, let's back it up just a little bit, Salakia.
well, I walked out of there pretty upset. And then we attacked Afghanistan. I was pretty happy about that. We should have.
Wait a minute. Let me back it up just a little bit, just so we can get that part.
Well, I walked out of there like that old saying. He said, if the only tool you have is a hammer, then every problem has to be a nail.
If the only tool you have is a hammer, then every problem has to be a nail. All right? And he's referring to the American military, all right, as being the hammer. And all these nations that they want to conquer as being nails. All right. And this is why I read Jeremiah 50 and 23. All right. Now, remember, this is going back to 2007. Okay. Let's listen to a little more.
Well, I walked out of there pretty upset. And then we attacked Afghanistan. I was pretty happy about that. We should have. And then I came back to the Pentagon about 6 weeks later. I saw the same officer. I said, why haven't we attacked Iraq? We still going to attack Iraq? He said, oh, sir. He says, it's worse than that. He said, he pulled up a piece of paper off his desk. He said, I just got this memo from the Secretary of Defense's office. It says we're going to attack and destroy the governments in 7 countries in 5 years. We're going to start with Iraq, and then we're going to move to Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and Iran. I said, 7 countries in 5 years. I said, is that a classified memo? He said, yes, sir. I said, well, don't show it to me. He was about to show it to me. He said, because I want to talk about it. And
as you heard them, they wanted to take down 7 countries in 5 years. Now, this is going back to 2007. All right? Here we are in 2024. You don't think that they've come up with the schemes and what it is they need to do to take over these regions that they talked about? And the main region that they want is Iran. All right? And this is where we are now. We see it all over mainstream media. All right, you see it on mainstream media, and you definitely see it on alternative media and social media. We see it. All right. This is the time. This is it. This is the time that we have been waiting for. All right, where this war is getting ready to jump off. Now I'm gonna let him talk a little more, because what he's getting ready to say is that this, when he heard this, it reminded him of a conversation that he had back in 1991. All right. And officer above him said the same thing about taking over that Middle East region and taking over Iran. All right. So just bear with it. All right. But this is just receipts showing you that we here, man. All right. The Most High has brought these things to pass, and we are here. All right. Ain't gonna be much more talking. All right. They have already provoked or sent provocations on assassinating these different leaders of those Arab nations. All right. Those, or should I say, Muslim nations. All right. Because you got that's Elam. All right. And then you got the surrounding Ishmaelites. All right. Okay. The provocation has already been made with the assassination of their leaders, of Hamas and Hezbollah. All right. As we read in that first article. So I'm gonna let them talk a little bit. Then we're gonna go pull up some scriptures, and then we're gonna go back to the other video on redacted. All right.
Sat on this information for a long time, for about 6 or 8 months. I was so stunned by this I couldn't begin to talk about it, and I couldn't believe it would really be true, but that's actually what happened. These people took control of the policy in the United States, and
when he's talking about these people, he's talking about the unseen government that has taken over the power, which are the elite bankers. All right, these top ranking military men and officials, they do nothing but take orders. Okay, orders come from on high. That's just why he said, well, why are we going to attack Iraq? All right. Okay.
Realized then, it came back to me, a 1991 meeting I had with Paul Wolfowitz. You know, in 2001 he was Deputy Secretary of Defense, but in 1991 he was the Undersecretary of Defense for Policy. It's the number 3 position in the Pentagon. And I had gone to see him when I was a 1-star general. I was commanding the National Training Center. I had met him one time. He said, if you ever get to Washington, come look me up. They always say that. Well, I was there in Washington. It was a Friday afternoon. I'd visited Colin Powell. He'd given me 5 minutes of his precious time and sent me on my way, and I was bored in the Pentagon, and I thought, I'll just go, who can I see? I think I'll see Wolfowitz. So I called, and up there, he was available. Scooter Libby came to the door. I met Scooter for the first time, and he brought me in, and I said to Paul, I said, and this is 1991, I said, Mr. Secretary, you must be pretty happy with the performance of the troops in Desert Storm. And he said, Well, yeah, he said, but not really. He said, because the truth is we should have gotten rid of Saddam Hussein, and we didn't. And this was just after the Shia uprising in March of 91, which we had provoked, and then we kept our troops on the sidelines and didn't intervene. And he said, but one thing we did learn, he said, we learned that we can use our military in the region, in the Middle East, and the Soviets won't stop us. He said, and we've got about 5 or 10 years to clean up those old Soviet client regimes. Syria, Iran, Iraq, before the next great superpower comes on.
And this is back in 91, okay? 1991, this is what he's talking about, this conversation he was having.
To challenge us.
So they've been behind in schedule, which really the Most High has kept them behind. But now, all right, things are getting ready to escalate to the point of this World War III and all hell breaking loose in Babylon the Great and around the world. All right, everything is here at its at the head. Everything's getting ready to happen.
And it was like, I'm coming out of the Mojave Desert. I've been training troops. I haven't been thinking geostrategy for some time. And suddenly a guy just sort of shoves this nugget at you. Well, you remember it. It was a pretty stunning thing. You mean the purpose of the military is to start wars and change governments? It's not to sort of deter conflict? We're going to invade countries? And my mind was spinning. And I put that aside. It was like a nugget that you hold on to. This country was taken over by a group of people with a policy coup. Wolfowitz and Cheney and Rumsfeld, and you could name a half dozen other collaborators from the Project for a New American Century. They wanted us to destabilize the Middle East, turn it upside down, make it under our control. It went back to those comments in 1991. Now, did anybody ever tell you that? Was there a national dialogue on this? Did senators and congressmen stand up and denounce this plan? Was there a full-fledged American debate on it? Absolutely not. And there still isn't.
And there won't. There won't be a debate about it, because this is the plan of the Heavenly Father. Okay? And America has been that crash dummy for the elites, so to speak. All right, and they're about to crash out this last time, which is going to result in the total annihilation of this landmass, right along with the landmass of Israel. All right, only difference between the two is that Israel will be built back up. America will never be built back up. All right, so let's listen to a little more. All right,
that's why we're failing in Iraq, because Iran and Syria know about the plan.
All right. Iran and Syria know. All right. In prophecy, Iran especially. This is why you have Russia and Iran as partners. All right. Right along with Syria. This is why Ezekiel the 38th chapter is written. See, the Most High is the ultimate chess player, baby. He has these nations. He's moving things around on the chessboard of the planet Earth. He's moving these nations around to bring forth his word, to bring forth what he said was going to happen. Okay?
What you have to do is read the Weekly Standard and listen to Bill Kristol, and he blabbermouths it all over the world. Richard Pearl the same way. They could hardly wait to finish Iraq so they could move into Syria. It was like a laydown. Our legions are going to go in there. This wasn't what the American people voted George Bush into office. Well, they didn't actually vote him into office, but it wasn't what many of the people it wasn't what he campaigned on. He campaigned on a humble foreign policy, the most arrogant foreign policy in American history. He campaigned on no peacekeeping, no nation building, and here he is with Afghanistan and Iraq. It's astonishing. So the root of the problem is not how many troops are in Iraq. Please believe me. Don't be mad if you're a Democrat at your Democratic congressman because they can't reduce the troops and frustrate the president. That's not the issue. And if you're a Republican, don't be mad at the Democrats because they're fussing with the troops. Whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, if you're an American, you ought to be concerned about the strategy of the United States in this region. What is our aim? What is our purpose? Why are we there? Why are Americans dying in this region? That is the issue.
And that goes back to 2007. All right? 2007. Now, let's listen. We ain't going to listen to this whole 11, but we're going to listen to what he's saying. All right? Because he's basically going to say the same thing, but in 2024.
Alarming. The movement of U.S. forces that's underway tells you that the movement of these forces is not a reaction to what happened. It was pre-planned. In other words, because this is not like you call up Domino's and order a pizza. Hey, I need a pepperoni in 30 minutes, and they whip it up and deliver it. First of all, you got all these sailors and Marines that have to be alerted to get on board ships. And those ships have to be stocked and supplied. They're not, some are sitting there ready to go, but some aren't if they're being, if they've been out at sea. So the fact that you've now got 3 carrier task force groups moving into that region, plus the one that caught my eye was the announcement that you had this Marine, it's basically a Marine Expeditionary Unit, what they call a MEU. That's a package of about 4,000 Marines, and their job to do what they call non-combatant evacuation operations. So, or a NEO, dump all the military acronyms on you. So we got the MEU doing the NEO, and the NEO is there for, people like in Lebanon or in Israel who can't get out because all the airports are shut. This will allow those ships to go in and load up American citizens and others wanting to flee the region. So that was pre-positioned. I mean, that's what caught my eye. That I think that my own view is there's a preemptive war coming, and it's going to be struck by the West, not by Iran.
Well, we
absolutely will be struck by the West. All right, because it's been in the works since going back to 1991, and more than likely before that. All right. It's been in the works. Matter of fact, let's bring in another scripture. Go to the book of Joel. Okay. Joel chapter 2, verse 20. And this is the Heavenly Father's plan. All right. And he's gonna bring these nations over to this region, and this is where he's gonna judge them. All right. And they've been, like we heard Wesley Clark say, since 1991, they've been wanting this. And now they finally got it. All right. Now they can make do on their plans, or they think they're going to make do on their plans. Joel chapter 2, verse 20. It says, "But I will remove far off from you the northern army," as you just heard this ex-CIA agent explain how they have these couriers that were ready to go. All right. They were already ready because the provocation that Israel, which they've denied it, but hasn't, which they haven't denied it, but haven't claimed the lives of those two leaders, the Hamas and the Hezbollah leader. All right. It says, Joel 2 and 20 again, it says, "But I will remove far off from you the northern army, and will drive him into a land barren and desolate, with his face toward the East Sea." Okay, and that East Sea is talking about the Persian Gulf. Okay, because this is where they want to go. They want to go into Iran. All right. And this is what the talk is. This is what the war talk is. Israel and America are going to engage in war with Iran. And not only will it be Iran, it's going to be that whole region. All right. And that's pursuing the 2nd Ezra, the 15th chapter, starting about the 34th verse, I believe it is. I brought it out a while ago, a few videos back. All right. 2nd Ezra, the 15th chapter. Yeah. From the 28th verse. Okay. It says, behold, an horrible vision, and the appearance thereof from the east, where the nations of the dragons of Arabia shall come out with many chariots, and the multitude of them shall be carried as the wind upon earth, that all they which hear them may fear and tremble. And this is why I played this video here. All right. Which he has a couple of these videos up. All right. Which, you know, this is just a small show of the force of Iran. All right. Now you got all those other Muslim nations surrounding Israel. They're gonna come against that place. All right. It's gonna be a holy war over there, a big ass war. All right. And we're just looking at the beginning of it, the start of it. All right. Let me go back to that here in 2nd Ezra 15, 20, 29. Where the nations of the dragons of Arabia shall come out with many chariots, and a multitude of them shall be carried as the wind upon earth, that all they which hear them may fear and tremble. Also the Carmanians raging in wrath. And all you got to do is pull up a map. All right. Pull up a map in the land of Carmania. The ancient Carmanians is in the region of Iran. Okay. And I've done this before. We'll do it again. All right. Let's just see what it says. Carmania. There it is. Carmania is a historical region that approximately corresponds to the current province of Kerman, Iran, and was province of the Achaemenid Seleucid. All right. So if we were to pull up a map, they show you right here. See if we, oh, it ain't big enough. Okay, here we go. Right here, Carmania, which is what? Over here in where Iran is. This is Iran right here. All right, now when we were reading in Joel 2, it said with his face toward the East Sea, which is here, the Persian Gulf right here. All right. So this is where this prophecy that's going to bring in the war to end all wars is happening. It's taking place. All right. Meanwhile, you got guys that don't know what the hell to believe, what gospel to follow. All right. The true gospel is out there, man. All right. You don't see it playing out before your eyes. All right. Let's finish reading this verse 30, and then we'll go back to the Joel, the 2nd chapter. Also the Carmanians raging in wrath shall go forth as the wild boars of the wood, and with great power shall they come and join battle with them, and shall waste a portion of the land of the Assyrians, because it's going to get real bad over there. All right. They've already said expect retaliation. So we just waiting to see. All right, what type of retaliation? And America's already in the region waiting to see what type of retaliation. All right, they already on guard, waiting. And best believe Russia's on guard. All right. So going back to Joel 2:20. It says, but I will move far from you the northern army and will drive him into a land barren and desolate. All right. Now going back to this map. All right. This is the land that's barren and desolate where the Lord is gathering, going to bring the northern army. All right. Okay. How do we know that? Let's read on. With his face toward the east sea and his hinder part toward the utmost sea. So going back to that map, his face toward the east sea, all right, which is here, the Persian Gulf, and his hinder part toward the utmost sea, which is here, all right, as we know is that now back then it was the Arabian Gulf, but this is known as the Red Sea now. All right, okay. So this is where they're facing Iran. All right. So this is about to pop. All right, it's about to pop. It says, and his stink shall come up, and his ill savor shall come up, because he have done great things. Meaning it's going to be a lot of dead bodies over in that region. A lot of dead American soldiers. This is why you have people, should we send off U.S. soldiers to go die in the war? Well, you ain't got no choice. They going and they going to die over there. All right. So let's go back to this video real quick.
We see this too. We also have reporting today from Dave DeCamp over at antiwar.com. Israel considering a preemptive strike against Iran. So this sort of preemption, this idea that they are going to attack and we need to be out in front of this. I think this is really scary for a lot of Americans who are familiar with false flag attacks. I felt like dusting off my USS Liberty hat to wear for this segment today, to remind Americans the last time in 1967 when U.S. sailors were sat right there and used as target practice, killed by Israel, attacked by Israel in order to draw the United States into a war against Egypt. Of course, your old organization, the CIA.
And this man is known for doing that. All right. He causes these things to happen to get the reaction out of the people so that he can come with his solution. All right. He's known to has been doing that. All right. He's been playing by the same playbook. All right. It's nothing different now.
Is actively involved in that, of course, we know. But so are we about to see another USS Liberty false flag operation using American soldiers and sailors sitting there on American aircraft carriers in order to draw us into a war against Iran? What is your sense of that? Or because we're calling it out, maybe we won't have it happen.
So much a false flag as it is that Israel serves not schizophrenic politically, militarily. On the one hand, they carry out this pre-planned assassination of the lead negotiator in Tehran. So it's a clear violation of international law. It's a terrorist act. That's what it is. If Iran had done that to Israel, we'd be calling it international terrorism. So let's call it what it is. It was a terrorist attack by Israel. And Israel's been guilty of several terrorist attacks in Iran, but we just don't call them that. Plus, the United States has been backing a group called the MEK, the Mujahideen al-Haq, who is MEK. They were on our terrorist list when I was working the issue. You know, they were sort of a Marxist, it sounds crazy, a Marxist Islamist group, but they were radical against the Shia Islamists that took over Iran. We took them off the list and started giving them money, for God's sake. So we back terrorists in the United States. So here it is, Israel conducts this terrorist attack, and then Iran says it's going to retaliate, and then Israel goes, well, by God, we're going to preempt that retaliation. So they're trying to play the victim while they're also the aggressor. They're both in this case.
So I'm going to just, you can go finish the rest of that, and we'll, get some more scriptures. And that's exactly what's happening. All right. They're trying to play the victim and also being the aggressor, which is gonna cause this thing to
For
jump
a
off.
while now, I've encouraged Americans to protect their savings with physical gold from birth.
Salakia, let's end this out with Jeremiah the 49th chapter. All right, and the 20th verse. All right, prophecy against Edom. All right, because the least of the flock, which are those small hatters, all right, there is the state of Israel, all right, they're the ones that's going to bring all these nations out. All right, now if they do a preemptive strike before Iran strikes, it's definitely going down. All right, but the point being is we are here. All right, they're canceling flights. They're telling citizens not to fly and go to certain regions, because that's the alarm. It's about to go down. So if you're in those regions and you from Iran, all right, or if you from America, you need to, they already putting out memos. All right, I've seen at least 2 articles on that. All right, French were telling their matter of fact, when you go to the People's Voice, I believe it was France, telling their citizens to flee from those regions. Let me just get that real quick so I can show you the receipts. Okay, I'm gonna go back a couple. There's so much going on, man. All right, so much going on. Where is that at, man? I know I seen it. I think it's on the second one. We'll see. If it ain't here, then it's got to be further. Look, here we go. U.S. and U.K. likely to be drawn in, all right, as Iran prepares to retaliate against Israel. And this is what we're getting ready to read in Jeremiah the 49th chapter, all right? So I think it's up further. All right. I'm gonna find it real quick. No, it's if it ain't on this next page, then we just gonna go back to the scripture. Right. I mean, you see the articles. Okay, Iran's supreme leader says Israel will be severely punished for killing Hamas chief. All right. What was that other one? Iran orders direct attack on Israel. All right. So they provoked them. All right. And this is why you have the U.S. moving into that region. Man, I know I've seen this France article. No, I've seen it, man. There it is. France tells citizens to leave Iran as soon as possible. All right. So the memo has gone out. All right. And if France is telling their citizens, you got other nations telling their citizens to get the hell out of that region because it's about to go up. All right. So going back to Jeremiah 49 and 20. All right, it says, therefore hear the counsel of the Lord that he hath taken against Edom. All right. Edom are them small hatters, all right. The U.S., you know, the power structure, all right. The beast system, Edom, all right. Their power structure. The nation of Edom, the Lord has counsel taken out against these devils, all right. And his purpose that he hath proposed against the inhabitants of Teman. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitations desolate with them. And we just saw that in, where is that one? I read it, that they were going to be dragged into it. Let me see. It's probably this one. France. Kamala. I just read it. We'll see. There it is there. US and the UK likely to be drawn in, okay, as Iran prepares to retaliate against Israel. This is what we're reading. The least of the flock shall draw them out, okay. So before these devils had it in their plans, the Most High had it written down thousands of years ago, all right, for these things to take place as we're watching them, all right. Okay, it says, surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitations desolate with them. The earth is moved at the noise of their fall. At the cry, the noise thereof was heard in the Red Sea. Behold, he shall come up and fly as an eagle and spread his wings over Basra. And at that day shall the heart of the mighty men of Edom be as the heart of a woman in her pangs. And this is ultimately when it goes down. All right, when the Lord get them to warn with one another, and then the Lord send Yahweh Shai to destroy their ass over there in the valley of decision. All right, going back to Joel the 3rd chapter. All right, where the Lord has gathered these nations to fight. All right. And this is what we're seeing. They're being gathered for this purpose. Joel 3:9. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Prepare war. Wake up the mighty men. Let all men of war draw near. Let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord. All right. Let the heathen be wakened and come to the valley of Jehoshaphat, for there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. And that's what's happening. All right. That is what's getting ready to happen over there. They're getting ready to lock horns. Russia's going to be there. All the nations will be there. And then Yahweh Shai is going to come and judge them. All right. By destroying them. All right. Put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come get you down, for the press is full. The fats overflow, for their wickedness is great. Multitudes, multitudes in the valley of decision, for the day of the Lord is near in the valley of decision. All right. And this is what we see going down, playing out in the planet Earth right now, where the Lord is gathering these nations so that he can judge them for the controversy of Zion. So with that, Lord will, this was edifying. I know I went a little long and was kind of all over the place, but it's here. The prophecies that we have been waiting to come to pass are here at the front door. All right. and it's only going to continue to get worse for the world, but it's in our favor, us hopeful members of the elect. So call Halal Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahweh Shai, and we on to the next video. Shalom.